Hello, you guys. We're still celebrating National Poetry Month because it's April, National Poetry Month, and we happen to be poets. Not necessarily good ones, but definitely poets. Anyway, since we know that we have some imperfections in our poetry, we're not going to make you suffer through our poetry week after week. By the way, I'm Wilnona, one of the anti-thought ladies. We are going to, on the other hand, have another poet who does much better than we do read their poetry for the next 10 minutes. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself and read some poetry?
Certainly. Hello, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew McDowell. I'm a Maryland-based writer. I've written and published poetry as well as creative nonfiction, and I have published one high fantasy novel titled Mystical Greenwood. So anyone who wants to know more about that can visit my website at andrewmcdowellauthor.com, which I'm going to type right here in the group chat. All right, so I'm going to get right into it. All right, so the first few poems I'm going to read to you guys are ones that have been published already in the Maryland Writers Association journal, Pen in Hand. So this first one is called 8 Pawns. Least significant on the battlefield, greater in number than all others, those 8 common pawns. Steadfast they go first on this path, never turning back in their march, those 8 brave pawns. Yet they are advancing rather slowly. Power is wielded by the higher pieces, those 8 weak pawns. Chances prove higher of being taken. If given up, regret is seldom ever felt. Those 8 unfortunate pawns. Unnoticed often goes their sacrifice, defending those more prized pieces, those 8 valuable pawns. Most will not last through this game. Enemies' big pieces do loom overhead, those 8 luckless pawns. But should any reach journey's end, rewards for having endured so long, those 8 remarkable pawns. Arise thenceforth to a higher prestige. From the weak the strong always stem, those 8 magnificent pawns. This next one's a long free verse one titled Nevermore, and for the record, it has nothing to do with Edgar Allan Poe. All right. Last time we met, I felt deeply hurt by you all as a whole, and I blame myself, having sunk so low, results from rage. Questioning myself, I felt I was nothing, unappreciated. No results from me. Writer's block hurts. I'm no Superman. Writing a novel story, draft got good enough. We started all over again, but still not finished. Editing going real slow. I've accomplished nothing. Asperger's syndrome, prone to fits and outbursts. Raging temper a problem. Despite improvement, working on social skills, frustration still exists. I am to blame for what I have done. Can I rise upward? Be the pathfinder like Joan of Arc? Sometimes I think no. World peace, peace at home, we all must strive to accomplish it, including myself. Collaboration, respect. Perhaps I'm just crazy. Be the pathfinder? Where to turn? How to steer fog? I don't know. I do not know. So, as you can imagine, that was written when I was not a low point in my life. This one also talks about loneliness, but in a good way. It's a short one called On Some Lonely Path. Down one of those cobbled narrow paths, only the dim lamps lighten my way. Out walking long after night has fallen, the crickets chirp or an owl's hooting. However brief in silence I may ponder, imagine and reflect during this brief time, being in a moment all to myself, feel not lonely on some lonely path. Yeah, that one was describing the campus of St. Mary's College where I went as a student at night. This next one, it'll probably get you in the mood for spring. It's a pan tomb called Almond Blossoms, inspired by the Van Gogh painting Branches of Almond Blossom, which he painted for his nephew, who was a baby at the time. So, almond blossoms begin to bloom on a branch that had been so bare, after time spelt of darkest doom. So was this tremendous despair. On a branch that had been so bare, with nothing I had gone astray. So was this tremendous despair, until the sun shines the new day. With nothing I had gone astray, an empty canvas there to rest, until the sun shines the new day, and newly born the very best. An empty canvas there to rest, herein filled with a sky of blue, and newly born the very best, this gift I have painted for you. Herein filled with a sky of blue, after time spelt of darkest doom, this gift I have painted for you, almond blossoms begin to bloom. This next one is a villanelle, which also goes back to the feeling of being lonely and feeling like an outcast. It's called Lonely Wolf. I am a lonely wolf who walks at night, amongst the tall pine trees and heavy snow. Hear my cry to the half moon shining bright. Young once within a den huddled tight, the years passed and sadly I had to go. I am a lonely wolf who walks at night. Embarking for the greatest peak tonight, there I shall convey my long-held sorrow, hear my cry to the half-moon shining bright. Though many have come within my sight, why they stand distant I can never know. I am a lonely wolf who walks at night. Winter's bitter cold reigns in silent night. Dark silence only brings light to my woe. Hear my cry to the half-moon shining bright. Here I stand alone on this rocky height. Here I do bay up where countless stars glow. I am a lonely wolf who walks at night. Hear my cry to the half-moon shining bright.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. This one's probably going to make you smile. It's a sonnet based on my favorite childhood toy, titled Little Bear. Such it was on the morning of my birth that you were presented and brought me joy, for every single child on this earth must enjoy life with a favorite toy. Eyes black, a nose brown, a striped bow tie, your body so plump, so fuzzy and blue. Although you have aged with time passing by, no matter what, I will always love you. Years past, my childhood too did depart. A playful toddler I can be nevermore. But young I am still from within my heart. These memories I hold forevermore. Wherever the journey takes me out there, I will always treasure you, Little Bear. So, this one was written last year. Actually, it was around the time of past Memorial Day, and so that's what kind of this one's about.
Okay.
All right. So it's called Never Forget. In a land of turmoil, divided by mistrust and hate, have we forgotten who we truly are, what this land was meant to be, transcending every difference that divides falls by the wayside. Many lay down their lives, fighting for something greater than all of us. They died for an idea. But what is that today? Never forget those who gave all for us. Never forget. We must remember who we were meant to be, in a land where all are free, preserved by the brave few. Never forget their sacrifice. Never. All right. This one is called Hiccups Coming Back, and this is one that'll probably make you laugh.
Oh, good.
All right. Hiccup. Oh, God. Just when you think, hiccup, they've come back. Hiccup. Oh, not again. Hiccup. Louder when lips are open. Hiccup. Drink a hiccup. No use. Hiccup. Hold breath to hiccup. Scare me. Hiccup. Oh, me. Hiccup. How long will hiccup this last? Hiccup. I don't know. I just hiccup. Want it done. All right. No more talking. Go to sleep. Lose track of time. Wake up. Wait a minute. No more. They're gone. What relief. Hiccup. All right. These last two are more fairly recent. This one, they're both free verse. This one's called Compulsion. So many things, a loose thread, a loose button, careworn shoelaces, worn away computer keys, not yet broken, but they are getting there. They cannot be ignored. They cannot be left alone. Pick and pluck away, twirl again and again. Clockwise, counterclockwise, feeling the touch. Every time, their end comes nearer, made quicker and quicker. No thought of stopping, it hastens their demise. Until it comes, broken, done. This last one's called Upper Crust, so the theme is about bread.
Really?
Yep. All right, so the dough is kneaded, baked to perfection, ready to eat. Once a dietary staple, now a side dish to spread butter upon or dip in soup. There's an upper crust, there's a lower crust. When cut in two, which do you go for? So many choose upper. It is softer to chew, easier in the mouth. People go for the better, softer and easier, upper crust of society. But don't forget the lower. Bread is bread. Bread can go anywhere. All of it is warm and tasty. All right, here we go.
Wow. I have to say, this has been an interesting range of poetry here. So my first question has to be, how do you do that? Go from Memorial Day, never forget, to something as humorous as hiccup, to doing a metaphor with bread, not a metaphor. I think it's a simile. No, it might be a metaphor with bread in society and life. How does your brain work to do all these?
Well, they come basically on a whim because I have a wide variety of interests, which also applies to when I write fiction as well. Like where something that just gets my attention or makes me tick, it'll lead to that. And certainly when I started out writing poetry, I was certainly very traditional, but then I started experimenting more, and certainly the more recently, as you can tell, I've been writing more free verse usually. But usually it just comes to me and I'll just start writing.
So when was your first piece published?
8 Pawns was published back in the fall of 2003 in the MWA's Pen in Hand, though it only appears as a PDF. It was, as far as I know, it was never actually in print.
Oh.
But the PDF is accessible from my website's poetry page.
Nice, nice. So everyone go check that out, because when he read it, it was beautiful. Of course, I have to ask about your fiction. So first of all, the first question is, what's the difference between writing poetry and then writing your fiction book?
Well, I think poetry is something that's very short term. It's something that'll come in an outburst, whereas with fiction, usually I'm way more of a pantser, and sometimes it takes time, and I have to figure out how to piece everything together. And yeah, that's much more long term, and sometimes I just don't know where I'm going. I just let it come.
So you're the type of writer that just sits down and writes, and the story comes to you and fits together and all that, or
And sometimes of course it doesn't, and usually I'll just write little bits down, and even then that can be a struggle. I know I've been trying to write the sequel to my first book, Mystical Greenwood, and yeah, it's slowly coming along, but yeah, it comes in bits and pieces, and that the problem is figuring out how to stitch them all together.
I find that you have to love your characters almost more than you love life. To write a sequel, it's not nearly as much fun.
No, I mean, yeah, if you feel like you're back to square one in a way, because it's no two books are the same, and certainly not writing it is the same either.
Awesome. So can you tell us briefly what it's about?
The first one or the sequel?
The first one and the sequel. I don't care.
Okay, well, Mystical Greenwood is a high fantasy story. It's set in an imaginary world. It's filled with adventure, good versus evil. And it also has a strong emphasis on a sacred value of nature. So if you're both a fantasy lover and a nature lover, it would definitely appeal to you, I think. And so the sequel continues that. Like, they spend a lot of time in the forests in the first book, and I'm hoping in the second book to include some more emphasis maybe on bodies of water, but also to up the stakes of the evil that's threatening them, and possibly include some romance, which the first book didn't
have. Okay. How are you doing the romance? Is it awkward to write romance and fiction and fantasy at the same time?
Well, perhaps it's hard for me because the truth is I've never been in a relationship with a woman. And actually that poem, Lonely Wolf, was kind of also about that as well, about what it feels like to be alone. So certainly now I know, having matured more, I know I don't want to be in a relationship just for the sake of it. Definitely.
Not for research, really?
No, I'd rather be in one in a relationship that would last, one that would come where she and I, whoever she would be, would be able to work to be partners in life. But that's what I think people don't understand about teenage love. That like a lot of them, it's just not for the sake of being in a relationship, and of course they don't always last.
Quite true. I have to say, Andrew, it has been a very enjoyable and interesting interview, as well as the range of your poetry has been exceptional.
Thank you very much.
I feel horrible to have to come behind this and read something, because that has been the format, because hey, it is our show after all, and I should plug myself. Mentioning that, are your books on your website?
Yes, I have the links.
Okay, everyone, go buy his actual books and read the poetry. All right. So to close this out, you can find Andrew at the chat link at the link that he put in the chat, and you can find everything that he does. And then you can find most of what we do at andwethought.com. And to close this out, I am reading poetry from our latest book, actually, The Misfit Guides, Cocktails, Soirees, and the LBD. It took us 13 hours to write this book. So long, right? That's a long time. Anyway, so I don't think anything that you read actually like matches anything in this book right now. So I'm reading 2 poems. Yay! Aren't you happy, Andrew? You have to sit through 2 whole poems of our.
I'm listening.
So I'm gonna go with Guide Maps. Why is the beginning always so bright? The steps in the sunshine with a fresh new idea in mind. Growth is for those who want to lose it all, if it isn't cleared by the hires up. Always a gamble, willing to take the foundation of what is built. The bars that hold those in place, as not to escape, but in a way, there are those always slipping out. They become illuminaries for the rest to follow, lighting the path new, beginnings or failures, it depends. And I'm going to go with eulogy for an idea because I have never read this before, but I do like this one. This one, and there's one here called about what Cinderella did after the ball. That's fun. I love that one. Can't read it though because it's boring. Eulogy for an idea. 7 days ago, she was born to great fanfare. I remember shopping for her essentials, fretting over every decision. But after a year of excitement about her full potential arrival, she was born. It doesn't seem like a week. Funny how grief plays tricks on the mind. Some days are so long you run out of tears, but can't stop your heart from mourning. Other days fly by. In a state of half-consciousness, you stand out in them all. This one glimmer at the end of the tunnel, something I could care about. You would grow up to reciprocate the love I had given, unfulfilled moments, or what overfill my emotions with grief-driven bouts of soulful rains and riverbeds of logic long entrenched. You were torn away by the actions of others. What if moments haunt me? Still, the idea of your first breath in this world is what stays off the flood. I can't help but wonder what you saw. Were you fascinated, scared, or happy to be out of the inner confinement and in the vastness of it all? No more understanding can dawn on you now, and I hold myself responsible. Could have chosen better partners and you would still be here. Despite the recent days, I will try again to birth an idea. And to this world with all the precautions the last venture taught me. So I want to thank everyone for celebrating National Poetry Month with Andrew and with me because Jade is not here. Hence why I got to read eulogy for an idea. Should have been like, no, you don't. So please check out everything that we're doing at andwethought.com and check out what Andrew was doing. Remember, the link is in the chat. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Wilnona, who is probably not getting her nails done anytime soon, and the missing Jade. Bye-bye.